X's and O's on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings radio network is in the air into a game against the New York Jets Sunday at noon. I'm Paul Allen. Kevin O'Connell is head coach of the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings. And with the Jets on the horizon this weekend, we welcome you to the program presented by the Minnesota Lottery. Back to the Patriots game for a second. Did Belichick say anything nice to you after the win? I mean, he did draft you.
He did. He in some different terms, he told us our team played really well. And then he actually spent some time. He came to our locker room, half hour or so after the game, and I got to spend about 20, 25 minutes with him, and a really cool moment for me, and just the dialogue of kind of the back and forth about the game. He mentioned if we're seeing each other again, some really good stuff probably happened. So we were able to share some schematic things and just kind of anytime you can just absorb anything from Coach Belichick, post game like that. It was really cool for him to do that. It meant a lot to me.
And you know him better than any of us will ever know him. But I mean, a lot of things happened in that game, negatively for the Patriots at times, offensively or defensively. But Bill, being a person who started in special teams, the Kane return probably bugged him most, right?
Yeah, he has a huge hand in the special teams there, and they've been so good for so long. Players like Matthew Slater that come to mind of the gold standard in our league of playing special teams in all four phases. So for us and Matt Daniels and Ben Cott, we could put together a plan on a short week to get the big return. I mean, how about Ryan Wright? He only had to punt 3 times in the game, but all 3 times inside the 20. And that last one I thought was critical to not let them have a short field. We strategically wanted to make them use their timeout so they would have to do it with no ability to stop the clock other than getting out of bounds and clocking the ball. And it just goes to show you just the execution late in games by some of our critical players that maybe don't get the attention that they deserve. It just continues to show up.
Now, before we analyze some of these creatures for the New York Jets playing defense, down memory lane we go with Kevin's playing career. 11-5 with the New England Patriots in your first year, and you missed the playoffs. 11-5 and you missed the playoffs, which is weird. So then the next season you're with the New York Jets, and you go to the AFC title game. I mean, what great memories to start any kind of a career.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. We actually went to Buffalo my rookie year, last game. We're 10-5. We win. There's probably 70-mile-an-hour winds, as only Buffalo can be. We find a way to win. That was back before the Wi-Fi and planes was really working all that well. So we get on the plane thinking we're going to the playoffs. And the first thing we hear when the wheels touch down was exit physical started at 9 a.m., essentially telling us our season's over. So I'll never forget that moment.
11-5.
Yeah, it was really something. And to lose Tom Brady that year and still find a way to win 11 games was really remarkable. And then I get to go to the Jets and kind of flip to the bad guys and the New England minds and get to try to help the Jets win anyway.
Yeah, and that's just one thing, having done this as long as I have, that when I look back at things like that I love. Because you're with the Jets, you're in your second year. Mike Pettin is in his first year as a defensive coordinator, and then now Pettin is your associate head coach here. After some time with Cleveland, I just love common threads like that,
Yeah, spent a lot of time with Pet, as a third quarterback for 3 years there in New York, to try to keep a job there. They want to get rid of the third quarterback, especially Mike Tannenbaum. He loved flopping out that third quarterback spot. So anything I could do to, hey, Pet, maybe let them know how much I'm helping you guys on this side and help me keep a job for another few games.
I had the privilege of meeting your parents and your grandfather before the Cowboys game. Chatted with them for about 5-10 minutes. They're definitely, I mean, you know this, but they're definitely wide-eyed and bit by the 9-2 team. I mean, they're so excited with what's happening here. So when you talk to mom and dad, do you sense how excited they are?
I do. I sense that they would wish that we weren't always coming down to the wire with every single one of these 9 wins, it seems like. But I tell them every single time, relax. We got a bunch of situational masters here. We're going to be just fine. But no, they love it. My whole family has just absolutely loved the Twin Cities and coming to visit. It seems like they're staying longer and longer these days, my wife would tell you. But it's just been awesome to experience this first year, have people come in and want to enjoy US Bank Stadium and everything that we've had going on. It's been a special year so far.
Well, in beating the Patriots defense, running up those yards and those points, you beat a stingy, in my opinion, you beat a stingy defense that hadn't gone against a lot of high-end offenses. Now you hook the Jets. They beat Buffalo and Miami, gave up 17 to each of them.
Yeah.
Diggs went for like 93 and no touchdowns. Tyreek Hill, 7 catches, 47. They put Tyreek Hill on 47 yards. This Jets defense, what makes it good?
Oh, they're relentless. They fly around. Having spent time in the NFC West against Robert Saleh and that defense in San Francisco, you see a lot of those traits. They're really coming into their own from a standpoint of they fly around, they come off the rock, they're going to stop the run on the way to the quarterback. These guys are playmakers up front. They've got some good veteran linebackers that kind of help make it all go. And then two really good corners. They go get Whitehead in free agency at safety. I mean, they have flipped that thing around to where I do believe they're one of the top 4 or 5 defenses in our league, and they've proven it with what they've done each and every week of this season. So what a challenge for our offense. It seems like the last few weeks we've been playing against the best in our league defensively, and we're still looking for those consistent results. But what a response coming off of that Dallas game for our offense, the guys up front, to play against New England and that rush and that defense the way we did. We need to replicate that again this coming Sunday.
One of their corners, Sauce Gardner, is currently favored to win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Having a heck of a year.
Where's number 1? Ahmad's his first name, goes by Sauce Gardner. Is it with him? Is it just like, well, there's the receiver, go get him, he's all yours, and he comes through? Or like, how's he play?
Yeah, they're playing there. You're not seeing him match a whole heck of a lot early on. He's playing kind of sides, and they went out and got DJ Reed on the other side, who's having a very good year as well. We spent a lot of time on Sauce in the draft, whether it's formal interviews at the Combine, watched a lot of, if not all of his tape from last year at Cincinnati. I knew he was going to be a special player. You just kind of felt that. Then you get a chance to meet the kid and the confidence, and his play has backed up everything that he said he was going to be as a rookie. He's off to a great start. It's going to be a challenge for us. We've got to make sure we got a great plan to go against a guy like that.
And speaking of plans, what advantage do the Jets attempt to create, or maybe they have, with Quinnen Williams as a nose tackle and C.J. Mosley, super physical linebacker behind him? What advantage potentially does that give them?
Yeah, I think, anytime you have a player like Quinnen Williams in the middle of your defense, it makes everything else go. I mean, he is as impactful, in my opinion, as any interior lineman in the league right now. You just turn on the tape. He's splitting double teams. He's one of those D linemen that's not just beating double teams. He's beating double teams and making tackles, which they're not asking him to eat up blocks. They're asking him to defeat blocks and make plays. They've got really good players around him along that front. And then the linebackers, like you said, led by C.J. Mosley. He kind of makes it all go, green dot guy, kind of like Fred Warner in San Francisco. A lot goes through him, getting them aligned and getting them set. But when that ball snapped, he is back to, coming off that injury last year, he's back to form where he's flying around sideline to sideline. And these guys are just, they have a game-wrecking kind of defense, and we've got to be really tight with our plan and really account for all 11 over there.
When Dalvin Tomlinson returns for you guys, what player on your defense do you think will benefit most by his return?
Yeah, I think it's, more than likely it's probably going to be really 2 groups of players. I think it's going to be Eric Kendricks and Jordan Hicks. When you get a guy like that in front of you as a linebacker that kind of has some Quinnen Williams traits of defeating blocks and making plays, offenses really have to account for him. Stay on that double team maybe just a little bit longer. That allows 54 and 58 to go flying around and making plays. And then the other guys will be 99 and 55. Z and Daniil maybe getting some more single blocks because you can't quite come off that D tackle when he's a penetrating, playmaking kind of interior presence like Dalvin is. So it'll be great to get him back. He's working his tail off, and I think Vikings fans should be confident to know we should see him sooner rather than later.
Now, Kevin, 11 into it with Kirk in the offense. How do you feel the rhythm of the operation is flowing off that New England win?
Yeah, I think Kirk's ownership of just everything we want to do, so much rolls through him. We can only do so much from a planning standpoint. Kirk's got to then take it, and with the help of the other 10 guys in the huddle, they make it come to life every single week. His ability to make contested throws, I think, has really changed our season.
Yeah.
But also his willingness to play snap in and snap out, make great decisions with the football, but also be willing to trust the guys around him, trust our playmakers to make plays on the football, has allowed us to steal some yards, steal some momentum in games, and ultimately finish drives with touchdowns. That has really kind of allowed us to kind of get back on track and get right where we want to be heading into the last stretch of this season.
So as I recall, when it was Gary Kubiak, Kevin Stefanski, then Clint Kubiak, now Kevin O'Connell, that there wasn't a ton of responsibility Kirk had at the line with the Kubiaks, and now there's markedly more. Is that fair to say that you put a lot on him?
Yeah, I just know what we're asking him to do, PA, is snap in and snap out, whether it's the run game, whether it's in, third downs, getting protections right, ultimately having the keys to the car and control is what I believe the best quarterbacks in this league. If you want to truly win as the calendar flips over to January and try to get into the dance and get in that tournament and win games, I do believe your quarterback's got to have a ton of control and the ability to make it right. You'll hear me say that a lot. Kirk's had the ability this year to make it right, sometimes not always ideal circumstances, and he finds a way to propel our offense to a successful drive, successful quarter play, whatever it is. Kirk's in a great spot right now. We got to continue to do everything we can to help him, but allow him to build on this momentum.
What was that the situation with Matthew, with the Rams, the control at the line, and maybe it increased as the year went on?
Yeah, we kind of revamped and retooled that offense when we got Matthew to allow more to kind of funnel through the quarterback position. And I just think in this league, when it's all said and done, those who know when they watch our tape and know what Kirk's doing. And I think he's just going to continue to build on what he's done.
Last one. What does your offensive line consistently do well that may go unnoticed by the casual observer?
I think we've been, especially when I look back on that Thanksgiving tape against a really good rush, straining to finish plays. That's what they're always really good about, the initial combinations in the run game. They're always really good about, where we're targeting things in pass protection. But what I love seeing is a guy like Ed Ingram straining to finish it down, knowing that every possible moment we give Kirk is another chance for Justin and Adam and KJ and TJ to uncover and for us to generate some explosives in our offense. But those guys up front, the strain, the grit, the finish, guy like Blake stepping in for CD, really stepping into a role there at the left tackle spot where each and every week you call them monsters, these creatures, you call them these rushers. Everybody's got them, and it's a heck of a challenge every week. And if you truly want to maximize what you are as an offense, it requires those guys doing a lot of the dirty work up front.
Your Monsters are 9-2. Good luck this weekend.
Right. Thank you,
Kevin
Peter.
O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm Paul Allen on X's and O's. Wide receivers coach Keenan McCardell joins us next on the KFAN Minnesota Vikings Radio Network.